Believe it or not, a single signature by one man can change the entire direction of a government. Courts can be made powerless, Congress sidelined, and the media declared an enemy, all through the force of an executive order. When a president begins deciding a nation's fate based on personal will, the question arises, is democracy still safe? Under Donald Trump's presidency, this wasn't a hypothetical concern, it became a reality. His aggressive use of executive orders challenged the very foundations of America's democratic institutions. Today, we explore how much democracy was sacrificed under the guise of executive authority and what could happen if the public remained silent. This video might open your eyes, watch, understand, and question. Executive orders are official directives issued by the President of the United States, often without requiring the approval of Congress. These orders carry the force of law and are generally used to address urgent matters such as national emergencies, natural disasters, or issues of national security. While they are legally recognized and rooted in the president's constitutional powers, their unchecked or excessive use can threaten the balance of democracy. Historically, executive orders have been used sparingly, but in recent years, especially during Donald Trump's presidency, their frequency and scope have dramatically increased. Because these orders bypass the legislative process, they can sideline Congress, the courts, and even public opinion. More concerning is the fact that executive orders can be used to implement major policy decisions, from altering immigration rules to withdrawing from international agreements or reallocating federal funds. That's why it's vital to scrutinize their intent and impact. In theory, they are constitutional, but in practice, misuse can erode checks and balances. The real issue isn't just what an executive order is, it's who uses it and why. During his time in office, Donald Trump issued numerous executive orders, many of which ignited widespread controversy and legal battles. One of the most notable was the so-called Muslim ban, which barred citizens from several Muslim-majority countries from entering the United States. Widely criticized as discriminatory and unconstitutional, it was initially blocked by multiple courts, though later modified and partially implemented. Another contentious order involved the construction of a wall along the US-Mexico border. When Congress denied funding for the project, Trump declared a national emergency to redirect military funds, a move that drew both legal and ethical criticism. Trump also unilaterally withdrew the US from the Paris Climate Agreement, a global effort to combat climate change. He imposed new restrictions on refugees and used executive orders to pressure social media platforms, accusing them of bias and censorship. What tied all these orders together was a centralization of power in the hands of the president. Ignoring courts, Congress, and public sentiment, Trump made decisions that many saw as undermining democratic norms. For critics, these weren't just policy choices, they were warning signs of authoritarianism in a democratic system. The overuse or misuse of executive orders poses a serious threat to the foundations of democracy. When a president begins acting above the law, ignoring courts and Congress, it becomes more than an administrative issue. It becomes a constitutional crisis. During Trump's presidency, we witnessed moments where democratic values were openly challenged. He called the media the enemy of the people, dismissed judges as biased political actors, and used executive power to bypass the very institutions designed to check that power. This type of concentration of authority disrupts the balance upon which democracies rely. If every presidential order is accepted without scrutiny or challenge, we edge closer to autocracy, where a single individual dictates the rules with little accountability. Trump's policies, from strict immigration enforcement to withdrawal from climate agreements, didn't just shift policy, they deepened divisions in American society. These actions revealed how unchecked executive power can move a nation away from democracy and toward authoritarianism. Democracy is not just about elections. It's about maintaining a system of accountability, transparency, and balanced power. When that balance is lost, the journey toward authoritarian rule begins. Despite Trump's sweeping use of power, the American democratic system did not go completely silent. Courts, state governments, the media, and civil society pushed back, often successfully. Federal judges blocked several of Trump's executive orders, including the initial Muslim ban and attempts to end the DACA program. Courts emphasized constitutional protections and prevented arbitrary presidential action. The media played a critical role in holding Trump accountable, fact-checking his claims, exposing falsehoods, and highlighting consequences. Social media platforms, too, flagged or removed misleading content, prompting fierce backlash from the president. State governments like California and New York openly opposed federal environmental rollbacks, maintaining their own policies in line with international climate goals. Mass protests, such as the Black Lives Matter movement, mobilized citizens nationwide, forcing national attention on issues like racial justice and police reform. This resistance showed that American democracy is more than one man. It's a network of institutions, watchdogs, and an engaged public. Had these forces not intervened, Trump's policies could have gone unchallenged and democracy may have suffered irreversible harm. Today, the question, is democracy safe, is more urgent than ever. Trump's presidency demonstrated how a leader can exploit executive power to centralize authority, silence critics, and deepen social divisions, all under the guise of legality, although courts and civil society pushed back. Was that resistance enough? What happens if future presidents follow the same path and public resistance wanes? Could democracy become a mere ceremonial concept, preserved in law but hollow in practice? Democracy is not a one-time event, it's a continuous process. It depends on civic participation, media freedom, and institutional independence. If the public stops questioning, if journalists are silenced, and if checks and balances weaken, authoritarianism gains ground. Protecting democracy is not just a task for politicians, it's a responsibility shared by every citizen, every judge, every journalist. If we stop paying attention, democracy can quietly crumble. And by the time we wake up, it might already be too late. Trump's presidency not only exposed vulnerabilities in democracy, it also provided an opportunity for reflection and reform. The elections of 2024 and 2028 won't just decide who holds power, they'll determine what kind of democracy America wants to be. If Trump or a similar leader returns to power, they could wield executive authority even more effectively and dangerously, having learned from past legal battles, but the silver lining is that self-awareness is stronger now. Voters, legal scholars, activists, and the media are more vigilant than ever. This is a moment for legal reform. It's time to clarify the limits of executive power and ensure no future president can overstep without consequence. If we ignore the lessons of the past, we risk electing leaders more authoritarian than Trump. But if we continue to resist, question, and speak the truth, we can turn this crisis into the foundation of a stronger democracy. The future holds both danger and possibility. The outcome depends on what we choose: to remain silent, spectators, or to rise and reclaim the values of democracy. Trump's executive orders were a mirror showing us both the strengths and weaknesses of American democracy. The real question now isn't what will Trump do, it's what will we do? If we stay silent, history will not forgive us. That if we rise, speak truth, and demand accountability, we can not only protect democracy, we can strengthen it. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and click the bell icon to stay updated with our future videos. Thank you.